Hello, my name is Lauri Mälksoo and I work as professor of international law at the University of Tartu, the oldest university in Estonia. I'm also member from Estonia in the Venice Commission of the Council of Europe and of the Institut de Droit International. And I would like to introduce to you today Tartu University's two-year International Law and Human Rights Master's Program. And if you are in that situation in your life to consider further studies, then I would like to tell you some facts about our program that may maybe encourage you to come to study with us. So it is a 2 years master program to fit into the Bologna logic and that it combines knowledge on international law and human rights. Human rights, of course, for many is a part of international law, but we do highlight it in the title of our program, and we think it is one of the strengths of our program as well, particularly in our, let's say, region where human rights actually continue to matter enormously. You can see some slides here with our people involved in the teaching, our students, and the building, which is in Tallinn. So that if there's anything compared to other, let's say, master programs of the University of Tartu that makes that program different, then one thing for sure is that actually studies in that one take place in Estonia's capital, Tallinn. And this because University of Tartu's law school is also present in Tallinn. We have our own building in the center of Tallinn, and therefore we are keen to use also those opportunities which being in Tallinn as Estonia's capital, where most of the government is located, which it can offer. But in many ways, this very idea of being a program of the University of Tartu, but being physically located in Tallinn, we would like to think it combines in that sense the best parts of Estonia. And surely while studying in our program, you will definitely also feel the connectedness with the university town Tartu and of course our country's historical university. In our time, we can generally ask what is so interesting or what is so special about international law and human rights. Why should study it? One thing seems to be sure: there is a lot of talk about these things globally in international politics. And there are a lot of controversies related to these things, a lot of struggles and fights even. And our program was probably born out of the idea that locations and places also can play a role in studying international law. International law can be a bit different depending on where you look at it. So Estonia's special feature, of course, is that it is a small state, but it is also a small state neighboring Russia. Our scholars have had a long time interest in also how Russia understands international law. In any case, in our analysis, the future international law will be less centered at the Western core, but will take more into account perspectives from other regions, including those regions in the West, such as the Baltics, which perhaps, historically have also been less visible in the study of international law. Although I must also say that international law has literally been dealt with at the University of Tartu since the 17th century, and we have We have a pedigree of great scholars in the 19th century. Some of the founders of the Republic of Estonia during the interwar period, especially Ants Piip, he was an international law professor at Tartu. So historically, we have a very, very strong background. And on top of that, University of Tartu was basically until the early 90s the only law school in Estonia. Now we have more, but as there's a lot of inertia in legal education, I think University of Tartu is still a very dominant player in Estonian legal education. Well, also we have very strong connections with various institutions in state bodies in Estonia, the governmental institutions, different courts, and you will see it in our program because we do not, in terms of teaching staff, we do not only rely on full-time scholars at the law school, but also practitioners. And so here you have some reasons, further elaborated reasons why to study those things with us. I would myself also highlight that we really try to be anchored strongly in scholarship. Strong academic standards are essential for us, that we will maintain them. We have a master's thesis would be written at the end of the study. At the same time, we have a strong focus on practical component. You would either look for internship place yourself, or we can also do our best to help you with that. And people do internships in several places, both in Estonia as well as sometimes in their host countries. But in the end, realizing that ours is not the only master's program in international law and human rights, the final pitch, if you want, why I think that our program is relevant and has its place in this world, and why we encourage you to study with us, is this comparative aspect. We, in our history, have experienced that international law is not always understood in the same way as it is necessarily taught, for example, in the West. And we have made ourselves scholarly effort to understand more about this, both in the context of, international law of security, of war, different regional thinkings about international law. But obviously, the same issue is relevant in the context of human rights as well. So we do take these aspects, these regional, national, comparative aspects seriously, while international law is universal. In the 21st century, it has a strong regional, national component, and sometimes And we believe that it should belong to the qualifications of good international lawyers in the 21st century to understand these aspects, to take them seriously, also historically seriously. Here are some compulsory courses. We have a range of optional courses. In any case, these 2 years you will be busy. The first year will be purely focusing on various courses, giving you the solid foundation in terms of understanding international law and human rights. And it comes from various teachers, from various professors, from various perspectives. You can compare those perspectives and of course the readings that come with those courses. So basically, you will definitely raise your knowledge and understanding of those things, but also the debates we try to have and create in the classroom about this information. And as I said before, there will also be a master thesis in the end, which you will work on during the second year. We also have classes like research skills and academic writing, which will prepare you and accompany you in this process. Here are some photos of the scholars who teach in our program, with various expertises. Someone more focused on international law, someone more focused on human rights, someone being full-time employed by the University of Tartu, someone else being, for example, a judge at the Estonian Supreme Court, or currently Prosecutor General of Estonia, but teaching international criminal law in our program. So it has a solid. It's also a group of colleagues who interacts with each other and educates each other about developments in international law and human rights. Well, while Estonia is not, Brussels or Strasbourg or New York in terms of international places, we think we have established over time enough connections with various ministries, human rights NGOs, law firms in our country. So people have during their internship and otherwise, they have been able to attend conferences, draft reports, basically work together with organizations from the practice, so that this study also would lead to being employed, to not only being based on somehow academic learning, but being rooted in what happens in real life. And exactly the fact that our program is located in Tallinn is a very good starting point, that we can make those interactions with state institutions, that we can make excursions, thematic excursions, often related to international law themes, including to our alma mater, Tartu itself, or also participate in moot court competition, or which was a student initiative in our program. Even a journal of international law and human rights was established some years ago. And so finally, I have been around this program for quite a while already, and I have developed, let's say, a sense of how our graduates are doing. And that is really the most rewarding part in being involved in this program, that we see that our graduates are really successful. They are very different things what they are doing. Somebody is a human rights lawyer and advocate in Ukraine, or somebody else goes for a PhD. We have also students who have graduated in our program, and then later they got PhD scholarships at the University of Tartu and elsewhere. Or they go to private practice. Tallinn and Estonia, they are hosting several startups, major international companies. I'm not going to mention their names, but I have encountered several of our students who have also studied in Estonia and become employed in some of those companies. So we do want to think of our program that it leads to employability. It leads to this type of knowledge which you can later on use in your own professional success.